Go, Daniel.
I'm Dan Beaudoin, and I'm Program Officer here at the Center for Jazz Studies at Columbia University.
I'm George Lewis, Case Professor of American Music at Columbia and current Director of the Center for Jazz Studies. I teach composition and musicology here. Well, the Institute started in a funny way. Michael Geller was nice enough to phone us and say, well, ISFO's had this ongoing program of connecting with improvisation and diverse genres of music making. And so, he called up, and I've written a piece for them in the past, and he called up and said, well, why don't we do readings of orchestral music by jazz composers? Well, what I suggested was, why don't we have kind of a pre-processor? My sort of working title for it was Music Modernism Boot Camp. And we would have a very short period of intense instruction in new music, just getting people up to speed on what was happening since, let's say, 1970.
Well, when we first started our conversations with American Composers Orchestra, it was in response to an RFP that was released by the Doris Duke Charitable Foundation. And Doris Duke is one of the few foundations that actually mentions the word jazz when they're talking about their principal areas of interest. I mean, George mentioned that jazz is an underfunded area, and it is. But Doris Duke really is one of the leaders in pointing out how important jazz is. They wanted a project that would have national significance. They were inviting applications from organizations that were doing projects of national significance that would affect areas common to the entire field of jazz. And so, we put our heads together with American Composers Orchestra. We identified this need, that there are a lot of jazz composers out there who don't have experience in scoring for full orchestra and really don't know how to do it. And we thought this created a tremendous opportunity to address this need and to really strengthen the field of jazz music, of orchestral music, of contemporary music. We were very lucky to have the American Composers Orchestra as partners. We're very lucky that the Duke Foundation smiled favorably on our application, and then subsequently we got additional funding from the National Endowment for the Arts, which was wonderful. And it's wonderful to have the imprimatur of Duke and NEA on this important project.
The idea is also to kind of seed the clouds for the field of jazz. Jazz is traditionally an undercapitalized field, not to say that orchestral music isn't, but I think the differences are substantial. And infrastructure is often lacking in certain ways. It was a way to connect up infrastructures and also perhaps to maybe make some changes in the way that orchestras look at improvisation. The people we selected, I think the process was very selective, and some of these people are very eminent in their fields. People like, Mata Roberts or Mark Elias or Rufus Reed or Nicole Mitchell. I mean, these are people who are known internationally as well. So, and they made the sacrifice of time. All of them did, some time and expense, materials to come here and be involved in what is really, as Derek Bermel said this morning, a collegial process of exchange rather than a traditional student-teacher relationship.
But it is a very diverse group in terms of there's women and men. They're from all over the country. The youngest participant is going to be a senior in high school this fall. The oldest is Rufus Reed, who is 66 and is widely acclaimed in his field. So it's there really are at all levels of experience. They've all obviously demonstrated great promise, but they have different levels of experience.
Yes, that's right. That's right. What I'm hoping is that they are basically overloaded with new ideas, ideas that they don't encounter, and that they take these ideas back and seed their diverse communities with these new ideas. So we may find, for example, instrumental techniques that they learned in the seminar being applied to other kinds of music that we don't normally hear those kinds of techniques used in. That's one example. we may find that and we're hoping to find some startlingly new ideas from people who weren't previously considered by the orchestral world, and who will now perhaps be considered for performances. We may find some people who decide to abandon jazz and cross over and do something else. Or they may find some other people who are making interesting new hybrids. So one can't really tell, but based on the diversity of the participants themselves, very diverse in age, the gender balance, representation, ethnicity, race, etc. What we're looking for is something that will really help that diversity to break out into the larger musical world.